Hi YouTube, this is your boy the Black Man. I'm here today with you guys to go over some of the deck lists from this past weekend from the Luxury Championship Series. The description for Luxury's website, as long as with their Instagram page where this information is gathered from, will be posted in the description of this video. So please check out that when you have a chance. Without further ado, I will go over all these deck lists and kind of give you guys my input and what I saw and what kind of meta trends we're starting to see in the format, and give you guys a little bit of a breakdown. But let's start it off. So the winner of this event was Blake, piloting Tri-Brigade Zodiac. The first thing we kind of see with this is that he ran a higher count of Zodiac monsters, which, for the most part, that's not so common. I think that's a larger count than I normally see on these kind of deck lists. Droll in the main deck seems to pretty much standard. Pretty much with any deck besides Dragon Link, I think they run this in the main deck. Looks like we have Nibiru in the main deck as well. That seems new. Normally you might see Nibiru in the side deck, but main deck is just showing you where the meta is kind of like taking off from. He also opted to run Impermanence in the main deck. I think the Imperm and these kind of like monster negations in the main deck again is kind of like getting ready for I think Drytron, and make sure you just don't auto lose to it. He also opted to run Triple Revolt, which when it's searchable now, people are still looking like they're running 3, which is kind of cool. In the side deck, looks like he ran, I think it's a Contacting Sea, the C card that looks like this card's been popular this weekend. It might show you like where the format is. Like people are like side decking this card now. Also ran Forbidden Chalice. This card seemed insane this weekend as well. I saw it. I watched the final this morning, and it seemed to put in a lot of work. He challenged his opponent's Avalusa and was able to win from there. Yeah, that seems like a huge card. Let's see what else we got in the extra deck. Nothing too out of the ordinary. This looks pretty standard for the most part as far as the list I'm seeing. So, yeah, I don't see anything that stands out in the extra deck. But congratulations to Blake on winning this. This is Luxury's been hosting these awesome online tournaments for ever since quarantine and even further on. And it's awesome to kind of like keep the community engaged. So shout out to Luxury for that. Next, we have the second place list. Things that stand out at first glance is that it looks like all the Dragon Link list, or at least this one, is running the Baby Metal Dragon, I think, to kind of like help when they get Droll and Lockbird, so they're at least searching the Darkness Metal and the boost after launch. To get in on seal, if anything. He also opted to run Gamma, which I love, and Ash Blossom as kind of hand traps, and he ran Triple Tactics Talent also in the main deck. I think that has to probably be in here in case he does get Droll and Lockbird, that he can like fight back a little bit against it, which good deck building by him on that point. Going on to the side deck, he has Nibiru in the side deck as well, and Contacting Sea. Contacting Sea has been like huge, man. It's insane. He ran, looks like 12 hand traps for the most part in his side deck, which is kind of cool to see. Like hand traps are making their way back in the format. I think you kind of need them. Another thing that stands out to me is the form of back row hate he has in this. His deck looks like it's pretty much for the most part Storm, Duster, and Red Reboot. That's all he ran as far as back row is concerned. So that's interesting to see. And as far as the side, the extra deck, I mean, there's nothing really out of the ordinary. I think Dragon Link players have kind of figured out the extra deck, so that's pretty much standard. Next, we have Prank Kids. I really like this deck list. I looked at it a little bit earlier. What I liked a lot about this deck list was the fact that he kind of ran, like you can tell, I think he used a lot of math when making this deck list. I mean, there's a lot of 3-ofs, of course, some 1-ofs. I think all the 1-ofs are actually in this column right here. That's funny. But, yeah, because you only need really one card to go off, so it's kind of nice to see. This deck list is very, very well done. He also ran Polymerization in the main deck. Nibiru also seen in the main deck as well, along with Impermanence. For the side deck, nothing too out of the ordinary besides this Contacting Sea again is in there, and he only ran, looks like 3 cards really for back row decks. Interesting as enough. And for the extra deck, Nothing really stands out besides like it looks like the Earth Charmer is the only thing I can kind of see that stands out to me, being a little bit different. I don't know if they were running that. I think it's Earth Charmer. Looks like the Earth Charmer, but that's something I can really see that stands out to me. And it looks like yeah, and then Toad, which I think that is becoming more standard. Another top four deck list, 40 cards. Again, we see the baby metal dragons in the main deck. Pretty much the exact same monster count. I don't think anything out of the ordinary. I mean, yeah, double tiding. The only thing that I can even comment on as far as the main deck is concerned is he opted to main deck triple effect failure. When I was theorizing this deck earlier this, or I think maybe last week, I was thinking like maybe would main deck effect failure just because it's a light target and I can add it off of Chaos Ruler back to my hand if I mill it. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much all I can really see from the main deck. As far as the side deck is concerned, pretty much standard. Um, the Kokomari Draco card. That's kind of interesting. Looks like he went in to the sides. I guess like if he seals or spheres or whatever, he can put this on the board and then they can't special summon. That's pretty cool. And he opted to run one in perm in the side deck. Huh. You know, I mean, if one or a three, if you draw it, it still counts, I guess, huh? Again, take a look at the extra deck, and again, I think Dragon Link has figured this out. I mean, this is pretty much that's standard. Next, we have a top 8 deck list. It looks like it is Pure Zoo. Wow. Okay, this is incredible. All right, this looks almost like an anti-meta-ish take, which I think Pure Zoo almost has to do that nowadays because it's the ceiling for this deck is so small. Um, you know, three Thoroughblade, three Ram, two Whip, one Bunny, one Rat, his hand traps, Ash, Effect Railer again coming up, Imperm again, and then Chalice is making a huge impact, man. Like main deck Chalice, wow. This deck seems pretty solid. It's funny because I look at this deck. I mean, he ran 6 Solemn cards, and he ran Order, and Macro, and D-Fisher. When I look at this deck list, this is kind of interesting because it reminds me a lot when Zodiac was almost at full power, or when we had Brabble and Dryden was, I think, not at 1. It was at, I think, 3 or something. This reminds me almost, looks like a blast from the past. Like, this looks exactly like a potential list we could have ran back then. This is actually kind of cool. And to think that it top 8'd a pretty big event, you know, in 2021, that's incredible. Shout out to Pure Zoo. In the side deck, look at this, man. This is insane. Shout out to this guy. This is crazy. I mean, D-Shifter, wow. Like, against a lot of decks, he plopped this on the board. I mean, turn 1. That's like a skip turn. Again, we see the Contacting C. He opted to run Cycle Reader. Guess he's fearing Drytron. What is this? That's the... What's this card? I forgot what it was called. Man, it slips my mind. Skulls... It's not Skull... something. Yeah, the Graveyard Negator guy. I forgot his name. And he ran actually more back row hate than I've seen in a lot of deck lists. That's funny. As far as the extra deck, looks pretty standard to me. Yeah, I think it's standard for the most part. Yeah, I don't really see anything, but awesome deck list by far. Again, looks like we have another top 8 deck list. This time we have Ryan Yu. He's a well-known player. Piloting Pure Zodiac. Wow, we had 2 Pure Zodiacs in the top. That's nuts. That's crazy. Shout out to them. And it looks like it's almost similar. He ran a Macrocosmos in the main deck as well, and he also ran 6 Solemn cards. That's crazy. And Skullmeister, that's what the card is. Yeah, he ran Skullmeister in the main deck. Wow. Shout out to him. I mean, this is a ton. I mean, this is crazy. Well, because it's crazy because Zoo is a deck where you only need 1 card to really go off. So like your hand could be a mixture of going second and going first cards. As long as you can kind of stop them and then you can Zeus their board. This is awesome. Good shout out to him. Maybe I feel like him and the other guy from top 8 maybe work together on this list because this list looks very, very similar. I mean, this side deck, you know, looks almost identical. Except for I think the other guy ran double Cosmic on the main deck and it looks like Ryan sided 2 Cosmics. But yeah, and then of course the extra deck seems pretty standard. But shout out to Pure Zoo from like getting at least 2 spots in here. Next we have looks like a Tri Brigade Zoo deck list. Yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier. Like the other guy ran like what 6 Zodiacs. This guy only runs 3. So that's what I'm pretty sure seen them run about 3 of them. Sometimes sorry about that. Sometimes 2, which is kind of crazy. He ran 41 cards to be noted. Ran a ton of hand traps, like 4, 7 to 13 looks like. 13 hand traps in the main deck. He also opted to run Solemn Strike. Solemn Strike is actually kind of cool because like people kind of sleep on Solemn Strike because it's actually it's a good going first card, but it also helps you crack boards going second, which people kind of forget about that because like yeah you might put up in a gate, but if you put up like either like a board clear or a card that can kind of interact in another way, you can end up knocking off 2 cards, which is cool. Side deck, Nibiru, again, we see that in there. Cycle Reader, again, like people were expecting Drytron, looks like. I think that's where the impermanence and the effect rates come in, because like people just didn't want to lose to Drytron, when they summon, Mubeta or like Summoner or something like that. They didn't want to lose automatically, and this is just in there just to side deck against that. Yeah, this is a pretty solid list. Again, we see Lightning Storm again coming back in the format. That's crazy. Along with Duster, and he also ran Triple Solemn in the side deck along with Order. As far as extra deck is concerned, pretty much standard around the board. I'm looking to see real quick if anything that just doesn't seem standard to me. Nope, seems all standard. Yeah. Last but not least, we have another top 8 deck list. Looks like it's Dragon Link. Here we have 41 cards. He opted to run Droll and Lockbird in the main deck. Only 2 of them, and he only ran 2 Ash Blossoms. He also ran double Chalice. Wow, people are running Chalice, man. That's crazy. That's nuts. This list is a little bit different because it looks like he's still kind of on like the Nocto Vision. He runs 1 Baby Metal Dragon. And he only runs 2 World Legacy, which this card is nuts. It's hard for me not to run 3 of this card. This card is insane. But obviously it worked for him. He also ran double TTT in the main deck, which card's pretty good, especially if you get Draw and Lock where you can take another card from your opponent's hand. Side deck, he ran double Nibiru. That's interesting. Only 2. He ran a lot of 2 ofs, looks like. Double Nibiru, double Skullmeister, double Contact C, double Dark Ruler no more, double Lightning Storm. So maybe he wanted to have, instead of going like 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, he wanted to have like a couple 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 of a lot of things. So he was able to run like, more cards. Yeah, I don't know how that math works out. I haven't really ever done that math like that. But apparently it worked out for him because to wrap things off, he ran 1 Call by the Grave, 1 Red Reboot, 1 Anti-Spell, 1 Imperial Order. So maybe he was able to side deck in because I think, all right, so now this is the first time I ever looked at this list. I think he's probably at some point in time taking a lot of his 2 ofs that he has in the deck for other 2 ofs. If I could guess, I think that's what he's probably doing. So it makes it easier for him to side. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's probably what he's doing. It'd be awesome to kind of get more information out of him about that. My first guess would be why he ran a lot of 2 ofs in his main deck and in his side deck. Which, hey, if it worked out, it worked out. I've never done the math on that, so I don't know how that is. And as far as his extra deck is concerned, looks like everything seems pretty standard. Yeah, so that's going to probably wrap it up, guys. Again, if you like the video, please put a like at the bottom and leave a comment, please. And subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos. Peace.